Schlacht beginnt.
Greetings folks, Iolair here with another World of Warships replay. Today's match features myself in the Tier 5 German light cruiser, the Königsberg. I am in a Tier 6 updated Epicenter match on Trident, and updated Epicenter just means each ring in the Epicenter can be controlled independently, and there are 2 aircraft carriers per team. My ship build, I am moving to an AA build. I had originally planned with the Königsberg to have a Destroyer Hunter Killer build with radio location like I have had on my Nuremberg, but even with my Nuremberg, I have switched that to an AA build because the presence of carriers at low and mid tiers continues to be quite prevalent. So before we get to the commentary and the gameplay, I have a few announcements. I think many of you are aware that I am part of a group of content contributors for World of Warships called Naval Alliance. And in addition to the 5 original members, including myself, I am very proud and honored to introduce 2 new members. We have Casual Captain from Sweden and Renzo26 from Germany. So I welcome both of these new members to our group, and I certainly invite everyone here to check out their YouTube channels and streams, and I'll leave links to their content as well as the content of the Naval Alliance in the description below. So getting to the gameplay, I've started off here on the west flank, and the Königsberg has excellent range and ballistics for its tier. It, I think, still has among the best, if not the best range of all Tier 5 cruisers, other than maybe the Murmansk that has a spotter plane. And so, in fact, it has exactly the identical guns to what the Nuremberg has and the same range of 16.5 kilometers. So it works as a very good long-range artillery ship, which is pretty standard for German cruisers all the way up the line. Now, I have to work from some concealment here because I don't know where all of the battleships are. We do see, obviously, this New Mexico, and I don't know which destroyers might be out in front of me, excuse me. So I'm going to be a little cautious here on how far forward I advance. You'll notice that I do have an Allied Alba at sort of my 10 o'clock position out in front of me, and frankly I think he's a little overextended because if he runs into one of the other battleships or one of the destroyers that he's not anticipating, he could run into trouble. But right now it kind of looks like that the opposing team has moved mostly a little more to the center and to the east side of the map, so I've elected to move up to try to remain on the flank, and this gives me an opportunity, to be able to fire into the center if I need to be able to contest the center. Now I am being targeted here by 2 ships, and now 3. And so I am slowing and turning here in anticipation that one of the battleships, and it is going to turn out that it is one of these battleships that's on the north east side of the central circle, has now just fired on me, and so I wanted to avoid taking a big salvo. The Königsberg is very much like the Nuremberg in that it is very squishy. It may not be as squishy as, let's say, the Emerald, but it has a very exposed citadel, and even a single shell that gets a citadel hit will wipe out half of my health very quickly. So I have to be very careful whenever I'm targeted. So I'm going to move up here to try to help my Allied Alba, who, again, I feel is overextended. He's coming under attack by both an opposing Guepard as well as one of the aircraft carriers. And so I want to be able to provide him some support. But as you can see on the tactical situation on the map, most of the opposing team is actually on the east flank. And so it's relatively safe for me to be up here and not run into anybody and have some sort of surprise encounter. The other concern that we have right now is that of the 3 destroyers that our team has, the Podvoisky, which you can see at the Gulf 8 sector, is effectively the only destroyer that's doing any spotting or performing any sort of offensive action. The 2 other destroyers that we have, in fact, we've now just lost the Podvoisky, giving the opposing team first blood. The 2 remaining destroyers that we have are going to remain camped just south of the South Island in the center circle. So while it's important to be able to contest all of the rings in the epicenter, the position of these 2 destroyers are denying us spotting and they're not able to leverage their torpedo capabilities to be able to deny area. And so this is going to be a significant point of frustration for us. And it is very important when you play these matches on Epicenter that all three of the rings be contested at all times so that you avoid the opposing team being able to get points. And we have just taken a slight ship lead by sinking the Guepard, but our Alba is effectively dead. He's going to take another hit here from the aircraft carrier, and he's now out of the picture. I've just fired on the, I believe that's the Ryujo, and then he's going to show up here again, and I am going to work on finishing off the Ryujo. Now, the Königsberg is not known for having very potent AA, although tier 6 I'm probably going to do okay. And the last skill that I intend to get for this ship is the massive AA fire skill, which is the revamped AA skill that was introduced with 0.8.7 once I get the points on this ship. And that will give me a little more potency to be able to shoot down airplanes in addition to the fighter and BFT. Send out one more AP salvo here. I'm going to get another Citadel and finish off one of the aircraft carriers. So at this point, we're even on ships. We have a slight point deficit, but we have enough ships that are kind of in the middle that I felt like, okay, we can keep this game going. But again, you'll notice that we have these two destroyers of ours that continue to just sit behind the island on the south end of the center circle, and they're effectively not helping us or helping the team. While it is, like I said, while it would be useful to have them, at least one of them be in the center, we could have the Fubuki at least torpedoing the center and trying to get some of these or deny some of the area, especially in the center, from the opposing team. Now you notice here in my personal situation, I had come under attack from the aircraft carrier, and he knocked out my engine, and I've only now just been able to repair it. So I'm going to get back underway. I was actually quite fortunate that when my engine was taken out, I was this far off the flank. I obviously didn't want to stay here, but it meant that like I was going to be able to remain in concealment until my damage control came off cooldown and I could repair my engine and get moving again. So I'm going to move back toward the center. We've just lost our fourth ship, so the opposing team now has a one ship advantage. But what the opposing team is doing is basically the right way, or a lot of aspects, right way to play the Epicenter mode. They've moved largely into the center. They're controlling the center. They're controlling the second ring. They are not obviously controlling the outer ring right now. They don't have anybody in that. But most of the points come from the center circle. And being able to control or at least contest all of the circle and the two rings is very important, and that is going to play a major role in the outcome of this match, as we shall see. So I'm going to move back down here. Even though I am detected, it's clear that the opposing team is amassed in the center, sort of providing very strong control, and I'm going to be able to fire largely unopposed with flanking fire onto the opposing team here. We do have a very low health Leander here. I send out a shell here, but I think somebody else gets, our Texas finishes off the Leander before my shells land. So we do have a one ship deficit, but we're falling further and further behind because the opposing team, excuse me, my phone's going off. The opposing team, they have control of the outer ring. We have no ships in the outer ring, and that's where I'm trying to head to. So at least to contest that outer ring, but then I start getting targeted, and I'm afraid that it's either the New Mexico or possibly, I think it's the Congo, yes, that might be targeting me. And it may actually turn out, I think it turns out to be the Alba, which is obviously a much smaller threat. So I was a little bit nervous at this point trying to push into the outer ring to at least contest it if I was going to come under some fire from one of the opposing battleships. Now, looking again at the tactical situation, we have no presence now in the middle. The opposing team is taking the middle unopposed. We lost one of the two destroyers that was camped on the south side of the center circle. The Fubuki, which is the remaining surviving destroyer, has moved out of the middle and is now entering the outermost ring. And here I have engaged the one ship that was firing on me previously, which was the Alba, but also now it does look like the Congo is firing on me. So our Ranger actually gets a pretty good salvo and gets the Alba down to just a few hit points. I've sent out one more salvo and I'm able to finish off the Alba. But now I have to turn out. Fortunately, I did anticipate the torpedoes and activated Hydro, so I have plenty of warning of these torpedoes, and I'm going to put some fire on the Congo here. Now, I set 2 fires in one salvo. He is going to damage control this, and then I will continue to land HE shells on him for a while and set him on fire again, and later I am going to sink him. In fact, I'm going to earn Arsonist out of doing that. But what I'm trying to do is I was trying to be able to get in a position where I could get back into the center and not get deleted. So I've had to turn out here again. But based on how things are, we have fallen seriously behind. We are only down by 1 ship. In fact, there's another fire that I've set on the Congo that he won't be able to repair for a while. But we've lost the center. We've lost the second ring, and our Fubuki is needing to retreat because he's getting pressured by the sort of column of opposing ships that have now moved to the south part of the rings. So he's having to retreat, and now I've set another fire on the Congo. That Congo has I think he had at least 2 fires burning when I take him down, but I've been able to set fires on him pretty reliably here. So we have no control of the middle, and it's going to come down to whether we're going to be able to sink ships fast enough. We've just taken out the Dallas. You can see there is a very low health New Mexico. I've just finished off the Congo, and I'll call target on the New Mexico, who's just barely out of my range, but nobody's going to fire on him, or it looks like nobody will have the means to fire on the on the New Mexico for a little while, and he will actually start to repair and start getting some of his health back, and that will be quite frustrating. You can see that I've just called to capture the base. We really need people to move in. Now, our New Mexico is now moving in, but the position where he's moving in, he basically is completely exposed to the opposing destroyers, torpedoes, and he does end up taking some torpedoes, and he also is going to come under aerial assault, from the aircraft carriers. I finally have gotten the opposing New Mexico that was very low on health in range, and I'm going to keep firing on him. I'm going to try to get a fire. I think I do get one. I don't remember if he damage controlled it, but right now I'm kind of desperate to just get kills because you can see we're even on ships. Yeah, I do get a fire going on the New Mexico. We are even on ships, but we're so seriously behind because, again, we allowed them to take the capture points. So in these Epicenter matches, it really, in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter how many ships you sink. If you do not control the center and take ships out, and take the center, you can very well end up losing, and you'll see how things work out here shortly. We do lose our ally New Mexico. Again, he came under some torpedo attacks from the destroyers as well as from the aircraft carrier, and there wasn't much that he could do. We do get the New Mexico down. Our Ryujo does get him down. Our carriers actually did pretty well to keep things spotted and to take things out where they could, but they alone cannot control the caps. And like I said, that's really crucial in these matches. Now, you can see here I was kind of vacillating. Do I go after the Geta? Do I go after the Minakaze? But I decided that the Duca d'Aosta might have been in a better position to go after the Japanese destroyer. So I'm going to pursue the Geta. I also want to keep the island between me and the Congo so that I don't run the risk of getting, sort of one shot by him. And again, coming under aerial assault from the opposing aircraft carriers. So we are gradually starting to get the middle circle, but the point differential now is stupendously large. We do have a one-ship advantage, but again, it's not going to help us here if we don't end up getting into the center. So I'm trying to stay in the center, but also be able to be in a position to finish off ships. Trying to get an angle here to fire on the Geta. And I'm gonna get it. I'm finally in a position where I'm going to be able to get some sustained fire on him. I'm also very aware of the position of the Congo because I need to be careful about how much I creep out here and be able to and end up taking fire from him if that happens. So, it looks like the Congo is fully focused on either the Duca or just trying to avoid the torpedoes from the aircraft carrier. You get a fire on the Geta. Now, I kind of I don't know if I made a mistake here. I was in the center. I was denying them points from there, and I left the center. I probably would not have had the means to be able to go after the Geta if I had tried to stay in the center. But at this point, we do have a 1-ship advantage. Now we have a 2-ship advantage. We've sank all but one of the remaining carriers. But given the point differential, it's huge, and we don't have enough ship. It's just me and the 2 carriers on our team, and I can't be in all 3 circles. So I elected at this point to say, what's my best option? Do I try to get into the middle where they get the most points the most quickly? But at this point, I've resigned myself that this is going to end up being a loss. So very frustrating. 4 kills, over 115,000 in damage. And we are going to lose because we didn't control the caps. And unfortunately, I was in a ship that would not be able to control the caps given the nature of this light cruiser. So a frustrating loss, but a good, important lesson in terms of how to play the Epicenter mode. So I hope you found the content and the commentary interesting. Again, I do invite everybody to check out the Naval Alliance and our new members. And like I said, I've left links to those new members in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there, and we wish you happy sailing.